is a long overdue catch up, I believe.
Yes, the messages became thick and fast of where are you, what's going on. So I thought I'd drag you back and we'd have a quick catch up.
Yes, certainly needed to get my head out of the dark cavernous area it has been in lately. But things are on the improve, starting to get back. Sorry.
Buried in that cavity again.
Yes, joys of mental health, fun and games. Other than that, how have you been, mate? How's the season come along for you? You keeping well? Work keeping you busy?
Work has been an absolute shitstorm. It's been busy. We've had no staff. It's been a very exciting year. So we had a lot of plans to keep doing some shows and get some stuff done through the year, but that didn't quite happen. For you were offline. I was getting swamped. It just didn't quite come together. So anyway, we're here now. We'll try and get back on top of things. You'd be the same now. It almost feels like the pressure's a little bit off the feeding of hatchies now.
Yeah, I still got a couple of turds. Most have worked through, but there's still a few that have been buggers, and some days I just can't even look at them. It's a struggle.
Just don't want to touch it.
Nah, yeah, but that's the way it goes. They'll take eventually. Few troubled ones have started, which is good. So I mean, it's just got a few that were, I was quite keen to get feeding. Have now started feeding, and they're just starting to come along. So there's always a few you get every year.
Yeah, always the way. Some that just don't want to play. I'm just trying to play with the audio. People saying mine's faint. Darren was having the same issue.
Yep.
I'm still having issues with connection. It wouldn't normal show if we didn't have 15 minutes absolute chaos before it trying to make everything connect.
Yeah, what Brent's trying to say is it wouldn't be a normal show if something at his end didn't go wrong.
If anything, I can't believe I came out earlier, had it all set up, and then
he just drops out. Oh, no, he's back. Hang on a second. There we go. He's back. It's on the wrong side, though. Whoop.
whoop whoop.
There you go.
I'm just trying to get some better audio going, but I think that's as good as it's going to get.
Yeah. So everybody's going to have to sit there with the volume control, go down for me and up for you, down for you. It's going to be quite the challenge, especially on a phone, pushing the volume up and down. It'd be terrible.
Flagged who's going to talk next.
Yeah. So I guess you can go through the chat list and these in the house.
They're all pouring in, mate. You chat to the chat for a second while I try to find any sort of volume enhancement on this.
Yeah. Well, sorry we haven't been around much lately. Brent's been busy and I've been struggling with the old grey cells, but anyway, the wheels are starting to go the right direction, so that's the main thing. Breeding season is upon us, so she and Brent's the same, probably got a couple of clutches already cooking and a few on the way, so we'll probably talk about some of those. Got a bit of something new baking, so I'll have some photos of that later on to share. And a couple of last season's babies, just a couple of things I like. That we'll be sharing as well. So I'll show you guys those later on. So I'll say some hellos. Katie Gordon, Mr. Deeb, Ryan Shepherd, Chris Sunke, man, Elizabeth, Chris, Dennis, Ryan. This microphone's in my way, can't read everything. Mitchell, Chris, Katie, if I said it, Dominic, hey Dom, Faye, Mr. Muzz Williams, Justin, Chris, hey guys, how you all going? Hope you're all doing well. Hope your seasons are coming along nicely and everyone's having success in their own rights, whether it's a simple clutch of ants or something completely new and unreal. Doesn't matter. It's all fun. Dino, how are you, mate? How you going there, Brent?
I don't know, mate. It's seemingly working my end, but I don't know about the audio out the other side. It's just everything's turned up to the maximum, so I don't know why it's so faint.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it is what it is.
Yeah, We'll
Oh,
have to,
maybe
I think we might have to
maybe I should whisper, and then they can just turn all their volumes up. So we're better.
I'll just yell.
Yeah.
I might have to upgrade the laptop to get some new technology happening.
Yeah, get one of these things. Yeah, probably a microphone, 4K camera, so you're not like a fuzzball. Actually, we should probably swap cameras because I'd probably look better or fuzzy in, real low definition, and you can have the high 4K stuff. How's that sound?
I'll pass. I'll pass.
Yes.
One more try at changing. Let me go out of this, and actually, there should be nothing coming out of the laptop. Should all be out of the phone. I don't know why the phone's being such an asshole tonight. Anyway.
Yes, I'll go through some of the comments here. Brent's hard to hear. Yes. Oh, I think he's got technology from the 1980s. I think it's an Apple IIc or something he's working with from back then. Apple II or something.
64.
Nintendo 64. Brent, audio, yeah, typical. Speaker, Brent. Comments are really coming. You need to talk up, Brent.
No one's happy. They're all angry.
Dave, Brent, you filming through a potato? I think he is, mate. I think it is. Daz, you feeling better? Get in there, mate. Wheels are slowly starting to spin in the right direction, which is nice. So I think you get to a point you got no choice, when everything goes on through breeding. But certainly a much quieter season for me. Sorry?
Too much Kahlua over winter, said David. That was extremely true. It was very large quantities of Kahlua and Baileys over winter.
Yes, I've had a few. I've cut down a few, though. But I opened the cupboard up, to my surprise, and still like 4 bottles of each in there.
Well, you haven't been trying hard enough.
Yeah. Won't go there. Anyway, almost like Brent's external mic is picking up. What is it? Your microphone normally run off, Brent? Is it off your phone or?
Yeah, it comes straight from the phone. I don't know why tonight it's having such a hissy fit. Normally it's crystal clear, perfect, but for some reason technology not going well tonight. We did change internet providers. It's a different router as well, so maybe something's in the settings wise is not as good as what it used to be before we changed over.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be faster, better internet. We changed to Aussie broadband. It's supposed to be lightning fast, but it's appearing not to be perfect for the streaming at this stage.
Yeah, it's not like that. We've had a few dramas with ours of lately and random dropouts, and we end up with a new router and dropped out again, and now they've fixed an issue with the line apparently at the junction or something like that, but it seems to be working fine now after the last phone call. Yeah, too much for. Hey, Daz, are all the yellow labels ones for sale? There'll be some added to the for sale list. Yes, not all of them. There's a few gravid girls sitting in there. A couple of little fatty ants in there somewhere. I don't know. It's probably we'll probably end up with one that's all messy. Yeah, like this one. Sitting there quietly. No, she's not a good example. She's only just shit. Well, there are a whole heap of T plus marbles and some other bits and pieces in there. Lost your sound. Lucky for you, I can talk a lot. So the lips are doing this, but there's no notes coming out with it. Hope everyone's enjoying the first. This is why we do these shows without having any guests or anything else or friends or stuff on, because Brent always has technical difficulties.
I am.
Oh, there he is.
I know. I'm trying different things, but I am at technical difficulty in myself.
That's right.
I need a child here to try and fix some of this stuff.
Yeah, that's why when I got the new computer and all that sort of stuff, I said to my wife's, the IT guy at my wife's work, He knows what I'm like. And I said, just want it work and I want it simple. I want to be able to plug it in, turn it on, and it just goes, here you go, done.
And it does what you ask. That would be fantastic.
Yep. So all I need to do is plug in a USB point into the computer, turn it on. And the microphone, the camera, everything's all done.
It turns on.
All it just turns on. Yeah. It's wonderful. And then Brent comes along. Yeah.
I know. I've come along with everything.
We seem to be there anyway. It's close enough, unfortunately. We'll get it sorted out and in the near future, or Brent will. I did say near future. Perhaps I should have just said future sometime.
Future.
Yes.
Does quite a season this year. How many potential clutches does? Do you want to answer that one?
Less than last year.
That's probably the correct answer.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet. I need to pay a little bit more attention. I think I've got six cooking at the moment, one lot of slugs, and a number of girls to drop, maybe 20 odd this year, 25 maybe. I think there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's like 6 there or something or other to drop. Another 3, 4 there, 5. Yeah, maybe mid-20s. So a lot less than last season.
Yeah, more manageable numbers should be nice.
Yeah, I didn't breed a lot of things, just hoping for more luck. Actually, I got one today. We were only speaking today, Brent, and I said actually one of the pairings I had was an albino posset pepper girl, which I put a double het male over, and we were talking to you about that today. And I was doing some stuff and thought I better check her, and sure enough, she was looked agitated. She was all around the tub. Well, what's going on here? So I pulled the tub out. She laid her eggs and was looking for something to eat. So,
fast mover.
Yeah, so it wasn't a great clutch, but there were 6 fertile and I think 5 slugs. She's only a small girl, not a big girl. But some eggs is better than no eggs. So that was nice.
That's a good start. That should be half the clutch, something nice and visual.
Yeah, well, hopefully if there's a pepper in there, it'll prove her out to be 100% het anyway. That's hopefully be the way. But knowing the way my odds run, not only will I be supplying Brent a lot of alcohol again this season, I'll also be short of snakes.
And tell them about the Moonglow clutch, Daz. This year's the year, I feel. You've been absolutely shafted for, I don't know, 4 seasons, is it? 4 seasons in a row?
Well, we bred them because the pair you got, I managed to source for you, and we've bred them for the same. We've bred them the same every year, same year. So if you've had them, I think this is clutch number 4.
I think this is the 5th year, because first 2 years I got white ones, 3rd year I got nothing. Last year I got 3 white ones. Looks like 2 snows, 1 moon. So yeah, this will be round 5.
Okay, so round 5, because I know we've bred them the same every year.
Yeah.
I had clutches every year. I remember the first season. I think I got 4. It wasn't a very good clutch, but it was like 7 wild types. When I say wild types, I think there was like 2 caramels in there, all the rest wild types, and I think 1 Sunglow. I kind of scratched my head and thought, geez, boy. But then you nailed it the first season. So here we are, 5 seasons later. I've hatched 1 Moonglow, which absorbed the entirety of the egg. Everything didn't snap off like you should have done, the umbilicus, and it died unfortunately a couple of days later, despite all my efforts. That's it. A few Sunglow, Posset Xanthics, a few ghosts, but not even a snow, let alone a Moonglow. So she dropped a lovely clutch. What did I say? I think it was 25. 25. I think she dropped 25 eggs, well, a few days ago, or a week ago, maybe, if that.
Yep.
So hopefully, sorry.
Solid effort, 25.
Yeah, decent clutch. Certainly happy with that. So hopefully, odds might change to my favour for once. So
That'd be
which
nice. Like I said,
would be nice.
I think it's got to turn around. You can't just go that many eggs. 100 eggs later, and eventually the numbers have got to swing back your way. So hopefully it's this year. You've been patient for a long time. It's got to pay off.
I hope so, mate. I hope you're right. So something's got to give. How's your ones going?
Yeah, mate, started strong. I was unsure how big to go, and in the end, I decided we're going to probably go bigger than normal. I try to stick to 20, 25. I paired over 30. Scared because last year I thought it would be a bad time to sell, but seems like it was still a pretty solid year. Next year might be the bad year. Now suddenly interest rates are going up. I think there'll be a bit tighter for money going forward. So probably not the greatest idea I've had going a little bit bigger this year, but we'll see what comes of the pairings. It's all good to pair stuff, whether they actually lay. But so far it's been very good. I'll say everything that's look good has shed and laid a clutch. So a couple of small clutches, which is nice. 10, 12 eggs, which is enough for some pairings. You don't want clutches of 30 of something. So we'll see how we go. I'm hoping I can keep it 25 to 30. It'd be nice. It would be more than enough that would keep me very busy.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly is. Yeah. So I would just catch up. So there's a quad year this many. How many clutches did that one? Days we have many clutches so far this year. I've had 7, I think, actually, because I did have once again another female dropped a clutch of slugs. So that was the zebra het pepper girl. I think this is like season number 4 or something or other. So she's just slugged out again. So I'm not overly happy with that. So I'm not sure where to go with that one. So it kind of sucks, but that's the reality of breeding.
She's not being kind to you, that thing.
No, I don't know why. It's obviously an issue with her because the boys that run over her certainly sire enough clutches on their own. They certainly get the job done. So anyway, it's just life. There'll be other plans in the works to, replace her as a breeder, so to speak, down the track with hopefully something else that'll bring a better fruition. So that the old Pepper Zebra combination still out there for someone to claim at this point in time. So maybe someone will get it this year. I don't know, but good luck to them if they do. Yeah, whatever it is. Steve Simbris, what's the snakes you guys enjoy working with the most? Well, you can go into that one first, Brent.
Obviously, carpets have always been my favourite species. Although the last couple of years, I've never big into Antaresia, but probably the last 5 or 6 years, I've grown a little bit more in love with some of the ant stuff. There's certainly some cool stuff happening in the antland.
Yeah.
I do love the olives, though. My wife has a pair of olives that are just big, beautiful animals. When you get them out, they're just such a powerful beast of a thing, to handle. Awesome fun to feed. They know what food is. They know how to kill it. So they're always exciting. They're that cool snake when you have mates come over and want to hold a snake. You pull out a sort of 3-meter olive python for them to have a go at. It's always a good hit,
Do they bite?
I always pre-warn them. It's a snake, bitch. They do bite.
Yeah. Yeah, they're nice, the olives. They certainly love their tucker, don't they? Jeez.
They absolutely hit food at speed and with force that's just ridiculous for a rodent that's dead.
They'd
be sure it's dead again.
Yeah, definitely. Mine's the same. For me, same. I guess obviously mostly carpets. But I do have a lot of ants as well. So I think carpets. I think I had a few more ants at one point in time, and then the carpets took over. I think I just enjoy. I find the carpets are just a good size. I enjoy working with the size. Ants are cool though. I do like ants, and now that there's more mutations starting to pop up with them, I've kind of getting a few more to play with. So yeah, but it's each their own. Just got to find what you enjoy working with and stick to it. Specialise in it, I guess.
Yep.
Um,
See Mr. Colin Ray's in. G'day, Cole. He's speaking of ants.
Cool.
He has some of the most spectacular T pluses out there.
Certainly does. That's absolute crackers. That's for sure. Daniel Boswell, hey mate. Carly Hotchkiss, Brent. I need you to convince my mum for a third. I'm assuming that is.
Third snakes are easy. Once you got two, it's all downhill from there. It's
Yeah. You just what you do is you get a rack that holds 10 and just put 2 in it, and then they can just appear in it. It doesn't matter. What do you get that for? Just in case. Just in case it's a cleaning tub and I move one out. Yeah.
And then you
So
breed some, and that's it. Once you've bred one lot of snakes, there's no tracking anything anymore. They just appear, and
yeah.
they turn up. I bred it. It just came out of that clutch last year. Doesn't matter if you swapped it, bought it.
Yep.
It's just one that's been here for ages.
Yep, that's it. What do you mean that clutch of children's pythons had 45 eggs?
Yes.
How it goes.
And somehow an olive python came out of it.
Yeah, that's right. There's giant children's. Katie Gordon, I had 2 small clutches, a good clutch children on carpets. Had 2 slug outs already, not off to the best run. That happens, unfortunately. As much as we don't like to see it, that's just part and parcel of the breeding. Mr. Borman, hey mate. Can't hear Brent, and thanks for the invite. Yeah, that's probably a good thing.
No one can hear me.
Wait. Craig, so Brent, evening guy.
Try and change something else and watch everything die again.
Oh, here we go. Chuck Burns. No, Chuck, it is Brent. He's having a few dramas for whatever reason with his volume. We don't know why or what is going on, which is not unusual. So, and me with the sniffles.
I have no idea why. It does not want to modify itself for me.
Oh, we'll play around with it after, maybe. See if we can't get it worked out. Does it normally run off the hearing things, or does it run off the microphone in your phone?
It connects. The hearing aids connect straight to the phone, so it all just comes straight through from the phone audio. So I don't know why it's so quiet tonight. It's very weird. You can't change the volume your end of the inputs anywhere.
Nah, I was looking at that before, seeing if I could change everything, but it's all pretty much the same. From what I know, not that I'm an expert on these technological things.
There's not a little. See where the cameras are at the side. Mine's got like where you mute out. Like you can mute one channel. There's like a sound bar on that. You can't turn it up off that.
Nah, that's the network connection.
It's just. Yeah, okay. It doesn't do.
Yeah, no, there's.
Up the top.
No, there's 3 little dots that said it name remove guest, and then the 3 little or the 4 little bars beside it. That's like your network connection, like on your phone.
Yep. But down at the bottom of that box, there's got there's a microphone thing on mine.
Yeah, it's maxed.
Yeah, that's on max. That's the only setting I can see for volume on it.
Yeah. Doesn't make any difference. Anyway. So what's let's talk. So what so far, or what is your most anticipated pairing this season? Or should I go first?
Well, my anticipated pairing.
Let's not talk about fantasies. Let's talk about realities.
The reality, I've tried to do Pepper and Granite for 3 years and failed. And
3 years.
this year I sent a girl to you. try and complete the mission. And how's that mission going, Daz?
Well, yeah. I don't know. I just, like, I understand with albino breadlie, I dropped the ball on that one. I sent that to you and you kicked it out of the park, something chronic, and I was left wanting quite badly. However, I've got a couple now, and girls grab it again for this season. I sent you some ghost breadlie type stuff, and I've now bred those for the last couple of years in a row. I think you're still trying.
I've done nothing. And funny enough,
Nothing.
I didn't even use that girl this year. So it'll be another year of me not making those things.
Another year of nothing. Oh, so then, yes, we've been trying to do the granite pepper project. Sorry, let's not say we. Let's say Brent. I got to get my 2 cents worth here, don't I?
Yes.
Has been trying for three years. 3 years, was it? You said
3 years, and each time I got more desperate using a younger, different animal or another male or a different female in, just scrambling to try and get something to work. I should have just stuck to the same pairing 3 years running. It would have probably came off, but kept trying to change things and not making it work very well. But I sent you a nice mature girl to use.
So before we go on, I'm just going to add a clause in here. I did take an adult from Brent, which wasn't quarantined, and that is because I know Brent, I know his collection, and I also know that he has tested everything that's gone into his facility. Brent also has animals of mine over time, which Brent has tested as well and introduced into his collection after that quarantining and testing process, which were all fine. So I knew the risks were zero. So if you're working with someone that you don't know or you're not familiar with their collection, it is not something I'd recommend. The only purpose of this was to achieve this goal that we're working towards. Other than that, anything else, I normally only buy hatchies. I'm not a fan of adults, except in specific circumstances. So coming last season, Brent had a granite jag, which was a bit of a pain in the ass from what I gathered. Didn't want to feed very well, or was reluctant, fed but just didn't feed very well. I was lucky to get her, and she fed well for me, which is not an uncommon thing to happen. It's just new setup, new environment, new smells, whatever the case may be.
Different food.
So yeah, could have been food. Not in that, might have been one Brent had sitting aside. It wasn't really overly worried whether she did or didn't go. So I brought her home. So we're just going to share screen here, and I gave her a good feed. And I put one of my lovely little pepper boys in there. And this was the first day I introduced them. So not that you can see much going on here, but you see his tail's wrapped around the coil. He was actually spurring in this photo. So you can see she was a bit plump. So he was spurring away. I left him go. I went back later that night, and the magic was happening. So he was locked up solid to her. I'd say within probably 4 to 5 hours, I'd put him with one of the other pepper boys. They combated, so he was straight off the boat fresh with the girl. And she's from, if I'm correct, Brent, she's never bred before. It's the first time.
No, never produced anything. She's probably 4 years old, though, I think 4, maybe 5. So
yep.
Funny enough, I fed great when younger and just slowed up in that last year or two. And like you say, I wasn't too worried to try and force it on her. So it was a good one to send to you and get some fresh blood into.
Yeah, so luckily my head was working well at the time, so I gave her a good solid feed up coming into season. And that is one thing that can be a good trigger for girls to get them to breed. Doesn't always have to be smashed hard with extra large jumbo rats. It could be just maintained on a good diet, good heavy feeding of medium rats. So, but just enough to give them a good solid food intake coming into the breeding season. So then I noticed this. I went, I actually sent this photo to Brent. Here's a dirty paper. But she went in. I thought that looks nice and swelling all the right thing. There's another pic of her there, obviously ovulating and doing all the right things. And the best thing.
The moment I said you've achieved what I couldn't do in 3 years in 10 minutes.
Yeah, this was almost back to back, like this literally. If you're pairing something, you pair something and they mate, and then, and a month later nothing's happened, and then another month later, and then finally, if you could put a stop clock on this, it was almost, instant, so to speak. So it was like mating, ovulation. So then I went back again after this photo, obviously give it a clean out, and then what do we want to see after ovulation? Going to a pre-lay shed. And obviously you can see she was quite fat and plump and on clean paper, which was nice. And then, unfortunately, not exactly the best mum. So she laid a nice little clutch, one slug, but didn't realise to actually coil on it. So one thing I did notice was in the tub she was in, she was quite agitated. She was quite flighty. She was moving. She wasn't settled. And for a gravid girl, I looked at her. She actually dropped that one egg that's sitting over on the right-hand side by itself near the end of the design word there. Was actually laid in another tub. So no, it wasn't. Sorry. I pulled one out. She'd already laid it. Sorry. But she was moving around. So I actually moved her into a bigger tub, gave her a better hide box, and that night she dropped this clutch, which was nice for change. And that egg, which had been in the incubator, I had to get the tub back out. I just picked and put in there for the photographic reasons. But so finally she laid a clutch, and I took that one. You can just see the slug down the side there. But yeah, unfortunately she didn't coil up on him like a good mum, but nonetheless. Finally, after 3 years of waiting for Brent, we finally have, providing, obviously the eggs make the distance and they hatch out and everything, finally have the granite pepper gene combined. I don't know anybody else that's done it at this point. Obviously Brent's having a crack and probably the only other person that has the ability to do so this season, I think. Could be wrong.
I think there's a couple others out there that, if possible, I guess if I've sold a few granites out there. I guess you've sold a few peppers. There'd be a few people that'd be close, I suppose, but it's whether they choose to use those animals to make that combo.
Yeah.
Certainly, I didn't try to make all efforts. Try up 3, 4, 5 pairings to get it done because I just didn't want 4 or 5 clutches of double hets, or triple hets. So this year, in fact, I tried 2. I tried just a straight granite to a pepper. Again, young girl. For the 4th young girl I've tried with no result, and I tried a albino granite girl who is gravid, who's looking very good. So. Providing she drops a healthy clutch, she's due next week. So hopefully, within the next week or so, we might see some eggs from her as well, which will be very nice. That we'll have a clutch each to play with and swap around, and we can see the results of finally put all the guesswork, see what results come of it.
Yeah, that's it. All those that say they're the same We'll prove it one way or another.
We'll find out if we see granity looking pepper things out of the same clutch. I don't think so. I think there's some mutations altogether.
100%.
We'll see when they drop. We should see a whole bunch of wild type looking animals.
Yep, that's it. So that's the little clutch there. How many eggs is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I think it was like 16 eggs or something or other.
Yeah, not a bad size. So she's not a huge girl. Like she's
yeah.
That's pretty good clutch from her.
Yeah, it's probably a good size. If they all hatch out, it's not, when you're producing something like this for the first time, where you're obviously going to hold them all back, obviously, this will be with Brent as well. You don't want a clutch of 30 eggs.
No.
You don't want that many to deal with. Something in the 15 to 20 tops range is ideal. Give you a better choice of options, and obviously that's a Granite Jag female as well. Just for clarification there. So having the option of having just wild type double hets and not having the Jag gene in there if you don't want to is also there, but having it there as well. So,
Of course, it comes down to the ratio. You need females. I kept that whole clutch of triple hets a couple of years ago. I think there was 17 in the clutch. I think there was 8 girls. But that's the problem. If there's only 3 or 4 girls in that clutch, you got problems. It's very hard to work forward trying to do many pairings with not a lot of girls. So
definitely.
Pray that the sex odds are favourable.
Yeah. So that's probably my exciting clutch for the season.
That's a good one. I'm glad you got it done. I was hopeful you would get it done straight away. I knew I'd wear some massive abuse for it, which I'm happy to take on board. But I just thought with Daz and your super boys, that'll just get it done finally. Between the pair of us, we should have it totally wrapped up this year. And obviously, that was the big one I was trying for. The other one I've been trying for a couple of years is caramel granites. It shouldn't be this hard either. It's one that I've missed for 2 years trying. This year, I tried 2 or 3 clutches, so I'm sure I'll get it from one of them. I think caramel double het granite albino to caramel double het granite albino has laid. There's one other too, that little caramel double het boy got done as well. I think an albino het granite maybe. So finally we'll see some. I just wanted the actual caramel granites to be nice. I think one of them could have caramel granite Jags as well. Obviously Sunglow granite Jags, but they're not really what I was hoping for. I just really wanted to isolate that caramel and the granite together.
Yeah. Very nice. They're a nice looking animal, they are, that's for sure.
Yes, absolutely. So, that was about all I really had to have this year. There wasn't too much else, but you must have had a few more up your sleeve.
Yeah, I can't remember half the stuff I've paired, to be honest. But that little, the little patternless pepper, I probably shouldn't say she's little, but the one that I put out regularly. Yeah, she's poss het albino, so I've had a double het pepper albino boy in with her. Kind of shoved them in the drawer, just left them in there and felt all about them. But she's looking a bit plump. She's not massive, that's for sure. Yep. She'll eat a large rat, at the kind of stretch. She probably wouldn't get an extra large down, but she's got the age and she's small for a breeding size cub. She's smaller than the granite girl I got for you. She was a bit of a pain to get going. But I was looking at her the other day. She's just shed. She's looking a bit rounder. So, but it's more, I find with the smaller carpets, they can be harder to pick sometimes, as opposed to my albino, the pure het albino Darwin's girls. One's dropped a clutch. She dropped 32, which is massive for the biggest. She didn't breed last year. She had a clutch this season. She dropped, mind you, I think it's 26 fertile, and a few slugs, which is the first fur. They're normally always all good eggs. But that's 33 is massive. And her sister, the other het pure albino Darwin girl there, she's huge. Like, she's massive, and I reckon she's going to top 30 as well. So these girls are getting on in age. They're probably, it must be about 13 now, I guess. But, she's like that. She's an absolute beast. So that will be a exciting clutch to see. I don't know what's the biggest clutch anyone's ever got from a Darwin, but I know they've been dropping 27, 28 and constantly. So I was surprised to count 31. And when I pulled the clutch, I realised she had another egg kind of retained. So I left her alone, and she dropped. It was actually a slug, which she popped out overnight, thankfully. So yeah, it was 32 all up. So, which is
That's huge. Like you say, sometimes
massive.
those big girls, you think the big girls, would be harder to pick sometimes, but they just get so big. They put so much of their body mass into the clutch. They just explode in size. It's hard not to know what's going on, but those little girls can be sneaky. You don't really notice that much change in body size. And a couple of the small girls I had laid, their eggs are physically smaller as well than some of the
Yes.
other carpets, and so
Yep.
they hide 10 eggs in them very easily. They're obviously neatly aligned, through their
Yep.
oviduct, and you don't really, unless you're going to go squeezing and feeling, looking for it, easy to miss and easy to be not sure whether. I often think, I think she's going to slug out because she just doesn't look huge. I think she would be bigger, but then a couple of small girls this year popped out 10 or 12, which is great. It's a like you say with that little pepper girl, it's enough. 10 or 12 eggs is enough to prove out what you're looking for, and then you can go and make different plans for her down the track.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be 20 or 25.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, the thing with the pure Darwins, they sell quite well. I run out of them every year. Obviously, a great wholesale item as well. Having nice pure Darwins and with the hets and the albinos, and I always keep back a couple every season to make sure I keep that nice pure bloodline going. Don't have to worry about getting in something from someone else and trusting that it's pure. I mean, I've had this line for quite some time before there was anything else around to muddy it up. So, having that's a nice kind of thing. I've got quite a few of them. I love albinos, so I've got a soft spot for them. Saying that the albino Darwins are generally, well, most albinos are generally quite placid. Like my big boy is a monster. He's massive. He's probably best part of 6 kilos when he's in his prime, and you'll smash any girl you put him with. But like Kevin, he only does he had 3 girls this season, so the 2 hets and another one. So one of his kids. So, but anyway, so I bought a couple of little snakies for show and tell. Should we do some of that, or you want to talk about some other stuff you got breeding?
No,
where do you want to go? You got some other stuff?
Much. Let's see some of your holdbacks from last year.
Well, just
last year.
Yeah, well, we've got. I was just looking at the time. We want to try to keep it short tonight. We don't want to go too long, so feel free if you've got questions, ask them. We will get back to those. I'm steering. Brent should be going through all the chat, but he's lazy tonight because he's having internet issues and sound volume problems and fuzzy featured faces and everything else. Potato. We go that way? Should we go that way? No, we go that way. So ignore the writing. So this, if we remember last year, this is from the Xanthic Pepper Clutch. So this is, do you remember the little patch that hatched out last year?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Little ghost with the patch.
Yep.
So that's this guy. Now, he's been force-fed for a while. He's been an absolute bugger. You can see the patch there on him, right there, actually. Yeah. Yep. But finally, he started feeding and doing all right and actually putting on a bit of size. I'll have to get this camera sorted here a little bit. And there's that little patch on his side, the little black bit.
So you think it's black pigment that's on it, or?
Yeah, I'm guessing it's probably like an Xanthic part, like a chimera as such. Where is it? There it is there. I'm sorry, buddy. I know you.
Xanthic mixed into a ghost?
Yeah, this is a ghost pepper, but yeah, so you can see the patch there. So I'm guessing that's just an Xanthic spot.
Yeah, a difference in pattern as well, or is it just that black dark colour?
It's hard to tell, I think, now that he's pooped everywhere. I did forget my paper towel tonight. Yeah. Well, he literally has not been handled since he hatched out of the egg, so I've just got him feeding. But yeah, the pattern looks. Oh no, there's some difference in there, but I think it'll be something that'll be. Oh, did you see that? He just squirted all over everything. Nice.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
That's going to smell great.
Oh yeah, especially when it's on the mouse pad.
Yes.
Oh, you know what's better? Oh, no, it's really better when he decides to do it in your hand.
How
Which-
warm is that?
He's actually quite cool at the moment, but like I said, he's never been handled, or he or she. Just trying to just calm down a little bit. It actually doesn't look that crash hot in there with the camera, but yes.
Black eyes though, the ghost pepper, great animal.
Yeah, he's looking quite nice. My hand's not, so we'll just chuck you back in there. And I'm going to wipe this poop from my hands. Oh, you think after a full season of egg cutting, I would have had my F10 bottle and my paper towel handy.
You would think so.
About the next best thing. Tissues and hand sanitizer.
That'll do. Not much to take that smell away except for a good 5-minute scrub though.
Yeah, I like the way you just sprayed it all across the mouse pad and it just soaked straight in.
Beautiful.
But anyway, so it's good to see that he's coming along, or he or she. I can't remember what sex it is.
Got it going on rats or mice?
Yeah, it's rat pups now. So wouldn't eat anything before. It was literally force feeding a pinky mouse. And then I got to the point that I was force feeding it too, just to try to get a bit of nutrients in it, sort of thing, and make it better. Yep. And finally I went away, and pretty much all that stuff that wasn't feeding well, I've left for probably 2 months over winter, and gone back to feeding. And yeah, a few of them that were being turds have started taking food. So
I think too it's that time of year now. You know, there's a little bit of temperature, a bit more sunny days. Things are starting thinking summertime is coming. They're ready to feed.
Well, it's a good little trick for anyone that's got problem feeders like that. Sometimes just cooling them, and ignoring them over those cooler months is enough to let them cycle. And then when they're offered food, they can be a little bit hesitant, but because they haven't been harassed for 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever, they're that little bit cooler, they can feel the temperatures down. It can be enough to trigger them to want to feed again. So this guy is one of the why is that camera making everything look terrible? Caramel pepper jacks that I hatched out.
Beautiful.
Which is doing, this one's one of the ones I'm gonna keep. You can see the difference in the size here. This guy's fed really, really well. He's actually a lot lighter than that. The camera's making it look dark. I've got a new phone, which is absolutely doing my head in. But anyway, this guy does not want to sit still. Hang on, let me just pull him up here for a sec.
Definitely see the caramel in it. Beautiful.
Yeah, they're really, really nice. The Murray colours in give them quite a different look in the background. There you go. Kind of almost the light colour in the back almost has like I don't know, silvery sheen's probably not the right word to it, but kind of if you compared it to like a bread-like caramel, they're completely different. But yeah, these one
feeds well, obviously.
Yeah, these do. These guys eat anything. Fuzzy rats, hobbit mice. Like I said, I haven't smashed them with food. Like just fed them, gave feeding a bit of a break for a while because that's the way I was. Won't go into that.
Which doesn't hurt either. I find once they're established and had 10 or 15 feeds, I've even backed off a little bit in the last couple of months to have a little bit of downtime to start feeding every second weekend instead of every week. Once they're well established, it doesn't really upset them much. Just
yeah,
a bit of time off.
That's it. And I kind of wanted to compare these two. So you might remember I hatched out a really red albino posset pepper.
From the Murray line fine, yep.
Yeah. So no caramel. You know, it's one thing I noticed with just the straight MD and the straight albino. They can often, you know, have a resemblance of looking like a sunglow. So this is your typical. Well, this one's a nice one. This is an albino posset pepper.
Straight albino.
Yep, it's got some nice orange in him. It's going to be quite nice actually when he gets older, or she, he, whatever. So I'll just while that's staying calm. Hopefully the other one will. And this is the other one. This is like the reddest one I've ever seen, and it's just start. This showed no pattern, and it's just starting to show pattern now. Like so, when I compare the two, I don't know if that will show up. You can see the difference in the color tone. So when it was hatched, you couldn't even see that pattern in it.
Yep.
At all. It was just all red. Now it's got some size. It was a bit of a. The light colored one hasn't fed as well as the other one. But yeah, it's
pattern too, isn't it, on the red one?
Yeah, it's got a bit of stripe, like dotting, and you can see an bit of stripe and
striping and blotchiness of the Murray pattern.
Yeah, so I'm very keen to see, obviously, how they go.
Big difference, though, eh?
Yeah, and even the light-coloured one, if I actually had a normal albino, it's actually more orange than a normal albino. So,
yeah, sure.
Obviously, you know, I probably should have grabbed the normal albino out as well, just to compare all three at the same time.
Yep.
But yeah, very happy with this guy.
And there was
girl.
No caramel in that pairing?
Nope, no caramel at all. It was pure pepper over pure albino Darwin. That's it. And you know, I've seen it in quite a few of the hatchies. Obviously, you can get quite a lot of that brown in normal Darwins. You get a lot of that hypo-ish in Darwins, caramel in Darwin. So you'll get that look about them. But that's just a polygenic variation, or polymorphism within the wild type Darwins themselves. And some of these, like, you know, look at that.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not coming out the best. I don't know what it's probably the camera on this phone, but yeah, it's quite insane. The orange in it.
Great.
It's
definitely a hold bait.
Definitely, yeah.
The boy or a girl? You haven't sexed it yet.
I probably have. I just grabbed these tubs that, you know, were floating around and shoved them in. I didn't really pay attention to the sex. Girl. It's a girl.
Handy.
There you go. Yeah. I don't know, just like it. It's just different.
Something different, isn't it? Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
different. It's that Murray blood's beautiful mixed into it. It's they're producing some beautiful combos with the Murray blood mixed into albino.
Yeah, and it's quite variation. Like I've got these kind of obviously high, what I call high orange ones or red ones, you know, whatever you want to call it. And then you have the other end of the scale where you have some that have the typical Murray pattern with almost an arrow shape on their head, where they're just yellow and white. You know, like your typical albino Darwin, so to speak. Obviously with a Murray pattern, and they're quite nice as well. I got a couple like that. So they tend to hatch out more like your normal albinos, but they tend to have a more solid contrast to it instead of being tricolour like Darwin's are. They tend to be more two-tone. They tend to be more just yellow and white, you know, typical of a more Murray sort of thing. So let me just ditch that. But that was it. I just brought a couple. I just thought I'd share a couple of things, you know, kind of in a bit of a rush and everything. So, but happy when you have something like that. The patch ghost thing there. It's nice to see that after probably 4 to 5 months of trying to get it to feed, to actually sit there and actually watch it and freeze for like 10 minutes while it finally takes its first feed, and then leave it for 5 or 6 days and then get it to take a second one. And now when you go there, you can offer it and it kind of thinks about it, and it's now starting to just bite and coil up. So
well, such a process though, isn't it? Some of them, it's so painful, so rewarding when they finally kick off, because you put in so much time. A snake that feeds, you can spend all of 3 to 5 seconds, on feeding day, shove food in your face, takes it, shut the tub, Like you say, other ones you can sit there 15 minutes and come back in half an hour and pick it up again and, agitate them a bit, have another go at it, and they wrap it, walk away, don't eat it, come back round 3. It's, you can spend an hour, dicking around on one animal, it can be frustrating.
You can feed 200 hatchies that feed in no time and spend the same time trying to feed 10 or 15 that are buggers. Or go through and force feed them.
And it's probably better this time of year. I find I'll have more time, so I can play games like that a little more than early in the season. I'll leave them, or I can assist feed them that quick that I'll shove something in them and put them back in the tub and just leave them alone. Keep them going for 3-4 months until there's less load, less animals, and you can sort of spend a bit more time getting them going then. So.
Yep.
As long as they've got some food in them, they're okay. Certainly don't recommend just leaving them for 6 or 9 months without food. They definitely need something to keep going, but it doesn't need to be all rush early. People often say to me, I want to get it feeding. It's been out, it's shed, and it's been 3 weeks. I'll say, don't worry about it. Let it go 3 months before I'd even be worried about trying to assist feed an animal. Just give it time to settle in and get its senses going itself.
Yep, that's it. And then when it gets to that point, that's normally when I start offering feed. And if it, I've offered it 7, 8, 9 times and getting the same 0 results, that's when I'll start going, rightio, I'll just pop in a pinky. With carpets, it's easy. You can get a little pinky mouse and down it goes like a tic tac. If you know what you're doing, you can force feed them down pretty quick and pretty easily.
Safely, with a small enough feed. I think the only problem I've ever made the mistake of is trying to push something too big. Like a big fuzzy or hopper mice into something that's very tiny. And not
small is better.
Open on stuff before, where they've just opened up, where their skin's got very soft and they're obviously not getting a lot of nutrition. They're not in a great state anyway. So I've made that mistake before. So definitely smaller. Sometimes seems like the food's too small, but I'd rather push 2 or 3 tiny things into them very safely than try to force something big in where you just know it's going to end badly. Yeah,
well, that's like I was saying about that thing. I was just forcing one little pinky down it, pinky mouse, that is, once a week, and then I kind of use that as a base establishment. Not that it was growing, but it was enough to put that condition on it. And then I started putting 2, and then the difference between 1 and 2 was it actually started to get some, I wouldn't say size, but started to get some condition, started to shed, started to do what it should be doing.
Slow growth.
Yes, very slow growth. As apart from deteriorating, some things you don't want to lose. So that's it. It's nothing worse than having to force feed truckload of hatchies every season. Oh, God, I miss having live food.
It is good, and funny enough, I still have access to it, and I did use a couple this year just to get things going, but generally I don't. I just use the frozen stuff. I've only got 2 snakes I've been assist feeding and still assist feeding now. They're being right pains in the butt. But like you said, they're putting on a little bit of size. They were really that dangerous, thin, terrible looking snake for a while, but now that they're sort of rounded out, colouring up a little bit, growing a little bit, I'm not too worried about them. I know that at some point they'll kick on. I won't have to worry about assisting. I'll be able to just leave food in there and I'll take it in time. So
that's it.
I see Katie saying tails are good for that. I haven't used tails much. I know people have certainly had success with it, and I just don't know how much nutrition there is in tails, but some things are that small. You've got really not a lot of other choice. So
yeah, there's not a lot in tails. It does make them easy, especially if you've got, like, I used to put, like, small parts of rat tails into non-feeding Antaresia. You slip it down with the fur obviously pointing away from the mouth, and that makes it hard for them to try and spit it out. And I don't think it's that there's much nutrients. I think it's more that it teaches them to feed. So
Training.
Yeah. So, if you force feed everything, if you just grab the snake out, force feed it all the time, it doesn't learn to eat. You know what I mean? You're always going to have that difficulty. So you've always got to give that snake the opportunity and try to work it over to get it to eat. You've always got to, sometimes you need to slap feed them, sometimes you need to tickle feed them, sometimes you just need to, be patient and let them sit there, let them sniff. You can normally tell, with a bit of experience, you can watch the snake and, nowadays I can look at it and go, oh yeah, it's interested. This one finally wants to feed, and you make the wrong mistake, you can set that snake back in time and create more problems. So, but that's something you learn over time. You'd be the same, you kind of, you'll go to a snake, you'll offer to feed, and straight away it's trying to launch you out of the tub. Doesn't matter what you do, that snake is just shut the jaw, walk away.
Yep.
So when they
running away, if they need to show some interest in the event. If they're totally, scared or running, you're wasting your time.
Yeah. So assist feeding is good. I normally try to assist feed some things. That's normally what I'll do with a slightly bigger feed if I need to. I'll assist feed. You do that 4 or 5 times, and each time you try to get it down a little bit further, and that will actually coat the pinky in the saliva from the mouth, which actually lubes it up quite well. Yep. And by the time you get to the 5th or 6th attempt, normally it'll just slip down like a tic tac. Yeah.
They get used to using their muscles to push it down. That sort of helps the process. Yep. Then they've only got to get it in. They know where they push it down from there.
Yeah. So, but tails are certainly something to eat and put in them. Like force feeding the pinky mouse is better, but the way I look at it, if you've got something going in there, it's better than nothing.
Definitely. I know Faye used to use some tails with some of the ant stuff and push the tail in, and then just as they got to the end of the tail, then grab a pinky mouse and chain that in at the same time, try and push the mouse in while they're already eating the tail, so they get the best of both worlds. They're already in the process. Once they seem to be chewing down on that tail, it's easy to sneak something in behind it.
Yeah, if you got that, if you've got the patience of Faye.
Yep, sit there all day playing with Antaresia to get them feeding, which Faye does a bloody great job of, but
certainly does.
We all don't have that luxury of time.
No, I certainly didn't have that luxury of time last season.
No,
certainly didn't. It was feed and force feed. This is the way it was going. God. Probably should go back and look at some questions, I suppose.
Check the questions, mate. I'll move this camera so I can grab 1 or 2 out, mate, and then we'll probably wrap it up, eh?
Yeah, you do that and let me know when you're ready. And do you want me to slip the camera on so you can see what's going on?
Yeah, flick the other one on, mate. I'll see if I can get the thing to fly.
There you go. You do that. I can't remember where we're up to. 2 small clutches. Fold.
Camera. Just go to. Oh, and actually, you probably need it there. I think it works you'll have no sound at all without that one.
Yeah, just put something in front of the one you want, and I'll make it bigger on the screen.
Not the one.
Yeah, that's right. You just go with this. There you go. It's all big. Oh, Elizabeth. Sorry. Yeah, still here. Just fading into the distance. Yeah, that's it. Where is 32? Well, I agree. Elizabeth, I have the same thing with my big albino poshet exanthic girl. She's huge compared to my jungle girls, and she looks scravid, but nowhere near the swelling of my jungle girl. Yep, that's it. All individual. It's all fun. Can't hear Brent. Yes, Brett. I don't think we want to hear him sometimes. He dribbles so much garbage.
My wife would be happy if you could never hear me again, but So sometimes I have to yell at her.
Very nice. And what are we looking at there, Brent?
I'm pretty sure this one is the Moonglow. There was a 3 from...
See, I had to ask because I wouldn't know what they look like.
This is Exhibit A, Daz. This will be you sometime this season. I think we'll be popping out a few of these.
That looks like you should give it to me.
Well, as a pain in the butt feeder, it actually started feeding really well, and then the last sort of 2-3 months, has just decided doesn't really like food much anymore. So it's got enough size on it. I'm not worried about it, but
Yeah,
it's just
very nice.
so well, and now feeding not so well. But
Yeah,
that's all
the
right.
Moonglow I have doesn't eat yet. It's not born or hatched.
You got time. You got time.
It's nice.
Yeah, coming up well. Looking, that one's definitely looking for its age and.
Is that a boy or a girl? That one?
That's a boy. There was 3 from 3 boys again. It's everything I seem to hatch that's white is a boy. There's been no girls as yet.
Oh, really?
I just don't know why so many things I have. As a comparison, here's another one that does feed fantastically. This one's just a snow. Obviously, you'll see the colour difference.
Yeah.
Whoops. Sorry, mate.
I should tip the water out.
Yeah, Sheree will love that. She loves when I wet all the tubs. Yeah, so certainly much more yellow.
You can see the yellow in it, yeah.
It's a bit of comparison. So looks like there was two snows last year and 1 moon. So far looking good. Hopefully that one holds up as a moon, because it seems that you need a good 12 months of time before you might get a little surprise. They sprout a little bit too much more yellow than what you want.
That's pretty typical of carpet. So it takes a while. It takes a good 12 months to 2 years from you get the colours and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
That looks terrible.
This one just a little Bradley head albino, but it's from the clutch where there's albinos as well. So this one's a 100% head. But this is the one that had the insane striping.
That looks nuts.
Yeah, I remember this one when we cut the egg on it. I was super impressed with the stripe. It's probably going to eat me because it's just had a couple of feeds today and a little bit excited about food.
I'm sure that was the one you said was coming here.
I don't think so. I don't remember that.
I'm sure if you go back and look, I can edit something in there that says you said that.
Just the stripe just gets better and better. It's just, it's been one of those snakes that every time it sheds, I'm just like, wow.
That pinstripe is almost perfect, isn't it?
It's one little patch, I think. It's up the top end.
Up the top end there, yeah.
Little breaks. And right down the back end towards the tail, it's almost perfect right down to there, and then it finally just breaks up a little bit towards there. But
if memory serves me correctly, which is unusual for my head, you actually had a couple that had some striping, wasn't there?
There was 3 or 4 in the clutch that were really good stripes, and funny enough, there was quite a few of the albinos as well that came out with excellent striping. So the parents were both very striped. It was a very dark head female. This one's female too, which would be very handy. Despite now not having any interest in going back home. There we go.
Your volume seems to be getting lower as you get further away.
Maybe it is it's maybe only picking up from the phone for some reason.
Yeah, definitely as you walk away, there's a drop in volume.
I wonder now while I'm back near the phone, is it any better?
Yeah, it's much louder.
Yeah, that's odd, because it shouldn't be picking up any noise from the phone, but anyway, we'll have to look into why that thing will not play ball.
Yeah, look at that.
This is one of the better results for the albinos.
That's beautiful.
Beautiful colour. It's starting to get the orange is starting to pop, and it got the stripe. That was what I was trying to do with that clutch, was really try and develop the stripe more in these things. I was hoping that the really dark het girl would make some really bright orange stuff, but I think I feel like I've made better albinos before, more orange than what some of these turned out. There's a few others that are not nearly as orange as this one.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wonder if it's the dark het girl, almost black goes to yellow, whereas the more orange, of the Bradley type coloration makes that orange in the albino. So it seemed like the stripe was a good win, but the coloration, I think this year I used the same stripy het girl with a really orange male. So we'll see what the difference comes out, boys.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know it'll be interesting to see actually because with the het albinos that I've got, Bredli albinos that I've got, which obviously the same line anyway, the male I use is the darkest male I have.
Yeah, okay.
So, hoping that she actually has a good clutch and does everything correct, it'd be interesting to see.
Dark as in like orangey dark, or dark as in black?
Well, he's a het, not an albino, so it's just het to het pair. But he's quite a dark. That's dark terrible. Who'd want one of those caramel pepper thingies?
Yeah, they're weird though. Who'd want one of these? This thing's got a disgusting bad attitude. If I move my hand here, I'll try and make it turn around a bit. Eat me over here.
It's like it's slowly going to turn to the camera and eat the camera.
Yes, it wants to eat everything. It's just not a friendly snake. But
yes,
the colour of it's insane. The orange, I don't know if it's picking up that well, but some of the orange, you get that Murray Darling colour popping out of it. It's a really, really nice caramel pepper.
It's quite interesting. I know we sit here and say you can't tell the difference between in the caramels or hypos, whichever way you want to call them, the super form. Yep. But I look and I see some like that I have. And then I have, obviously, as you've seen, some of the caramel peppers, the original, first one that I've produced and a couple others from last season where they virtually have no pattern whatsoever. And I just wonder if it is an influence or not. I kind of don't think that is the case. But it just sits in the back of my mind as, be interesting theory to work with down the track when they get the size.
Yeah, definitely. It's I've done caramel to caramel pairings too, and you sort of think maybe you can pick some of the super stuff. Who knows?
I was just thinking the difference in I know it doesn't make any sense, but I always try to keep my thoughts open to possibilities, and I just think, is there an effect on going from having a pattern like that one to almost a patternless like ones I've got? That's disgusting, mate. Get rid of that.
Yeah, it's another one of them stupid-looking pepper things.
That is
the craziest eyes on it. The eyes on this thing just
insane. How good are the red eyes in an albino?
Yep, full red, solid eyes, and the colour in this thing starting to explode. It's just getting to that. This thing loves food, just eats everything.
I wouldn't know. I struggle to get mine to eat anything.
Yeah, this thing right out of the egg was a fantastic feeder.
Mate, that is...
Which I don't care. It eats them, smashes them, and grows well. I really think they almost grow better on mice, for that first year. Because this would be it's one of the first of the holdbacks that's gone into a larger size tub. Because it's, and it's a mouser. People complain that they eat mice, but
it's not so much a problem now. It's a problem when it's 6 foot long.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to undertake that task at some age. This thing is now 10 months old.
That is absolutely stunning, mate. That is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, loving it. Probably favourite snake of last season. But like you say, it's 10 months old now. At some stage, it's got to go to rat. It's you can't feed it mice forever. So that's always the challenge of I don't mind them on mice, but at 12 months old, you really got to start making an effort to get them to swap,
Yeah. Well, what you do is you defrost your mice in water, and then you defrost 10 mice with 3 rats, and then feed it a mouse, and then feed it a rat after it, and you'll find that they'll start to take to the smell, and then you can start to reduce the ratios, and that's the way you can try to get them in, try to get them over.
Yeah.
I've got a, the first caramel pepper I produced. It's the same. It's a mouse feeder. It's an absolute pain in the ass, but I've now got it to take rats, but I have to defrost the rats with the mice, and then it will eat it. So it's only a matter of time before it'll eat mice. That's nice. Ghost Jake? Yeah, it does. Yeah.
This one from a couple of years ago. This is not last season, season before. Just one of the nice lighter looking animals. Possible super, I suppose. We'll find out in time. Certainly looking more that super look to it.
Very light.
Yeah, nice.
I've got it's like the Ghost Jag I have from my white line. It's very, very similar to that. Maybe a little bit lighter. It's not as big as that though, but it's quite nice. Did you have? I need to have a camera set up near my hatchie room. All I can do is pull out Antaresia from over here behind me. Oh, you know what I didn't bring out? I know there was something else I didn't bring out. Should have brought it. Oh, look at that.
This thing is mental.
That is nuts.
Excuse me, here, please. This thing just absolutely blows my mind. Sunglow Super Zebra, but the colour.
That is intense.
Sheds, I nearly die. I open its tub when it's fresh shed, and I would have taken more photos of this snake than any other snake in the past 2 years, I think.
That
just
is.
Colour is.
You can see it's glowing, like even with your crappy camera.
Yep.
You can see how bright that thing is.
With the world's shittest internet connection, it's just
going to eat you.
Mental. Yeah, it's thinking about more food. It already ate today, but it's already thinking possibly could eat something else. But
and absolutely perfect too. There's no little squiggly worm tail at the end of it, or did it have one that's just dropped off? Or
no, it's right from the start. I'll try and keep it in without going mental. The tail was near perfect. It's right at the end there. It's almost.
All right, got a little bit.
Like it's a little stumpy, but it sort of cut itself short. I never touched it though. That's exactly how it came out of the egg.
Yeah.
So it's the best tail probably I've seen on something I've produced as far as Super Zebra goes. I would say it's 98% perfect tail. And I think it's probably as good as we're going to see out of this lot, and hopefully it'll make more. I've got a couple of others I've kept back, just normal supers and caramel supers. With that thought that possibly good tails will make more good tails, So
yeah, well,
but color-wise, that one's one that impresses me every time. I'm about to actually move down into the adult room. It's in a V35 short at the moment, but it's going into a V70 as soon as everything's laid down there and I can shuffle some stuff around and get them onto accelerated feeding program once they move into the next room,
Yeah, that's crazy. Spectacular animal.
Yeah, they're super impressive. I'll try to make more of those. They're one that was very, very impressive. I wasn't sure how good they would be, but they were certainly impressive. Did the job.
Yeah, definitely very nice. Oh, I need to pull my finger out on some of my critters.
Yes, it's a process, isn't it? I've certainly enjoyed a little bit quieter time in the last couple of months, but I feel like there's eggs building up everywhere. It's about to explode again, so it won't be long, and it'll be back under the pump again.
Yeah. It's not going to take long. We'll be sitting here not too far away, another month and a half or something or other, and we starting to cut eggs again and seeing what's going on. Some fun stuff.
When's your first clutch due?
Probably only a week old. So,
okay. Well,
yeah.
First one laid very early for me. My whole season seems to be running 3 to 4 weeks ahead of normal. I think that's probably due to that much colder, summer last year being very wet. It got colder earlier. Everything felt like winter was coming before winter was here. So a lot of animals were ready sooner. I don't pair much till June, July, but I feel like everything was more than ready. Start of June, everything was just mating. It seemed I wasn't watching much, but looking back at the times of pre-lays and when they've laid, they must have been into it straight away as soon as I paired stuff up. So, it looks like it'll be a couple of months from that one, end of the 8th, 9th, 10th, end of the 10th, we'll have a month's time. We'll have something to cut.
It's nice when it just works. Like I was saying with the pepper and the granite jag pairing, it's just like textbook. Pair them, they mate. When the mating's successful, the girl ovulates, pre-lay sheds, lays a clutch, and it was all pretty much not like, I've paired them, I've seen a mate 7 times, female hasn't done anything yet. And I mean, that's part of the game as well, but it's really nice when you kind of pair it, and then, not that much longer, she's ovulating and doing everything right. It's like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah. It was like, as you sent me those update pics, I was like, shit, this thing's just rolling out at speed. It seemed too good to be true. It was just happening at such perfect, as you say, perfect rollout, and bang, we got eggs. So very well done.
Yes. So finally, one of us had to do it.
Finally.
I'll be waiting 3 years.
Now, all I can do now is try and make triple heads just to shut you up. But in the meantime, you will be first. I'll be happy that you've finally done it for us.
Sacrifice years of pepper clutches to wait.
Waiting.
That's good. All right, let's go through some of these comment tea. So Brett Moy can't hear Brent. Yes, it's because I've turned him down so we can't hear him. Chris Sunky, have you got any hatchies from the White Line Ghosts, Daz? They are awesome. Probably next year, I'd say. I haven't done this year. I lost the girl, so she was egg bound and everything when I went away and turned messy. So I managed to get the clutch of those ones that hatched out. So yeah, it's put the project back a little bit, but I've got the ones that I have produced. I've taken the show. They are going great. They are smashing medium rats now. Like Brent, I have a bit of a storage issue. So once hatching season is over, I'll have to move on to some adult stuff to allow some of the younger stuff to come through again, like I did last year. But yeah, if I can continue to get them going up to size, that'll be nice. Yeah, yep. Next year. I probably should have brought some of that older stuff along. It's a bit awkward. I got to put everything in tubs and bring it all out here, and I don't want to have to be shoveling through 50 million tubs. But yeah, hopefully, mate, that it's certainly there. It's just got held up when unfortunately lost that really nice caramel girl. But there's plenty of nice ones coming.
At least you've got something to push on with.
Yep. Kira Jade, I suppose I'll put these up I can read them easier. I got a gelatin baby almost a year ago. I'm having to assist feed her. Doesn't ever bite and wrap and will regurgitate if it doesn't go back past the back legs of its food. Absolute pain. Yes. Well, yes, they can do. I find sometimes when you get a bit of strength into them, if you force them a bit more. I've actually had one that actually had a blocked throat. So I tried to force feed it, and it would get here and to stop, and end up getting it looked at, and it actually had a defect in the throat. There was actually no hole for anything to go down. Yeah, it actually was like sealed up. The snake appeared perfectly healthy to look at, thing, but
there's no opening.
It would try to eat, and it would literally, like, it would feed. I wasn't force feeding it; it would feed, but it would like feed, and it was like a crop in a bird. It would like get the mouse down, its mouth would be shut, and it just have this massive bulge in the neck, and that was it.
Obviously, wanted to feed. was hungry.
Yeah, and it would cruise around. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And I'd force it back out and think, oh, something, maybe just, try to get water in there or something or other. But yeah, end up having it euthanized and cut open. And it was actually the hole was actually sealed shut.
Yeah.
Mr. Knox, hey gents, dropping in a bit late.
Many defects that can happen.
Yeah, that's it. It seems, how late in the season can you possibly see locks for albino Darwins? Mine tend to go early on. Like I've already got a clutch. The other girl's Gravitas. She's as fat and happy. She's coming into prelay. But I have had them go late enough that I was able to be one of the first to get an albino Darwin over a bredli. So it's really there's a lot of subjects. Sorry, there's a lot of conditions at play. So, temperature, weather, how cold the house is, how warm it is, if they've cycled back out from breeding and it's now warm and they now want to, back on the food. So normally after breeding season, I'll have a post-season shed. And then once that's done, you pretty much season's gone. So all you can do is try and see. I mean, if you've had them paired and everything, or you haven't had them paired, put them together and see. They'll either will or they won't. But it's also subject to the girl and the boy. What do you reckon, Brent?
Just keep pairing. I know some people. Mr. Sunky, he's one of them. Christopher Sunky down in Melbourne, just defies all the odds and had Coastal still mating in December last year. Coastal clutches hatching in late March or something. Like, it was unbelievable times, of
shut up, dog.
Pairing stuff up forever. When you're 6 months worth of pairing up, most people give up. But it's Christopher certainly even proved to me. I thought he was nuts pairing on for so long. Into the end of the year, but it got the job done. Got a fantastic clutch out of his things very, very late for coastals anyway. So
yep, a lot of different.
Yeah. If they're still doing the right things, if they look like they're still cuddled up and they're not, obviously rearing and looking for food, then keep on pairing.
Yeah, that's it. Hang on. Hang on.
What's up with Coco? No sound.
Sorry, I just wanted to mute myself so I could yell out to shut the dog up.
I could lip read what you said. Was it nice?
She's probably out the front. There's probably the neighbours walking the dog. That's normally what sets her off. So sorry about that. Yeah, so never too late. Give it a try. See what happens. You'll know if it's too late. There'll be zero interest. Girl won't be interested, and you'll open the drawer and they'll both be looking at you like, "Where's my food?"
Yeah.
So
that's when it's a risk. If you're pairing up and animals are striking at each other, or having a good crack, it's probably gone past the point that they're not going to get anything done. But if you can read the play a little bit, then it's still a chance you can pair for half of the year and get results.
Yeah. Chris, the albino is mental. Yes, all of them were. Not sure which one specifically, but they're all really nice. Hey, Dempsey, late. Did you bring a late note? Slacko. Shirley, Brent, I need your help. I read that one for third snake. Yes. Geez, Daz, you look younger, mate. Oh, of course I do. First for everything. It's probably because I shaved and had a shower, or something I haven't done for months and months. Yeah, kind of. I think, tried to improve my appearance somewhat. It's pretty hard. I need one of your fuzzy cameras, Brent.
Hey, it works to treat my end.
Yeah. That's it. Tails are great. Tails. Talk about that. Full of fat. Harlings, or how are your GTPs? My condos, they are going great guns. I almost brought one out tonight, but because it wasn't a hatchie that I actually cut, I didn't. But one's actually started to turn green, which is very exciting to watch that colour change come about, but they're going well. They're smashing. They'll eat fuzzy rats now. They're pumping along. I've had no issues with them, and give them a spray every 5-6 days sort of thing, and give them some water, and shedding and feeding and doing all the things they want. To have them kind of set up in the tubs with that little mesh like you've got in your tubs you pulled out there. Same thing. They sit on top of that. They're actually starting to outgrow it now. I looked in today actually. Yeah, they kind of sit on one side. It's just like slopped on the ground, but they're still sitting there, and the head's like hanging off the side, looking for more food. My God! So yeah, they're going great guns. Really, really enjoying them at the moment. So I've actually got to pull my finger out once I can clear some thoughts in here, and get some enclosures set up down there for them. I've got a couple of tall upright, 2 foot tall sort of enclosures down there, or plastic old URS ones I've had for many, many years.
I'll probably do them right through to adulthood.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, branches and everything all set up in there, ready to go. So, and being a plastic, they're a plastic tall tank. I think they're like 700 tall or something or other, and something like that. So, I'll be happy now. You can give them a good spray with water. Don't have to worry about the melamine or anything like that. Yeah, really enjoyed those. They're nice. Right first, Katie, waiting on those. Okay, good. Waiting on those bread like Brent Smith. Don't forget me. He forgets me. What are you talking about, Katie? Hey?
There's a long list waiting on those. That's why I've done nothing about it. Because it's all too hard. I'll just keep feeding them for now.
Yeah, it's hard when you open a drawer and go, geez, that's nice to even bother responding to the request of someone wanting it. It's like, no. I've still got a male post double het pepper albino in the front room that it's just all striped. It's starting has a more of Darwin look to it, and it's all striped. And I look at it and think it's a male.
You're never going to use it, but you're never going to see it.
It's like one day I might put it over something just to prove it out one way or another, but it's just kind of there. And I open the drawer and go, I've thought about moving it on several times. And I open the drawer and just see all those nice stripes, and it's like the stripes on your bread light, but it's like multiple stripes down the sides and everything. And I'm like, I just can't do it.
Stripe job.
Yeah, sort of thing. Yeah. I need to.
Someone's going to breed a genetic stripe animal like that, and whether they know what it is or not, if it ever gets proven out, it's got to happen. It's happened in Bredli, so it's eventually it's going to pop out somewhere else.
Definitely. Yeah, you got to love stripes. Moonglow Fire, yes. Those stripes are wicked. We all love stripies. Red light. How would these Dutchy V, how old would these guys be? So they bred, some were yearlings and some were hatchies?
Yeah, all the first lot were they're all between 9 and 11 months old, I suppose. They're all last year's hatchies, except for those last couple, the Ghost and that Sunglow
Super
Zebra from the year before. So they're close to the 2 years old.
Yeah. There you go. A bit of pepper insane. Nice. So I'm just scanning through for any.
You're way behind in the chat, Dad.
Sorry, mate. I just, why? I'd actually went back and I had it highlighted there to answer something. And then once you move the chat, it doesn't scroll anymore. So I kind of not realize it was just sitting there, and I'm like, oh, geez, all these things that normally I would have said. So sorry. Stevie Johnson got a caramel Jaguar from Darren and breed her to a 95% diamond cross zebra to see what weird, wonderful hatches might appear. Nice. Interesting to see. It's all about it these days, everyone's tend to mix with something. Got some nice genes in there. The caramel Jag, interesting to see what comes out of it. Hey, fellas. Crystal Hassing, how you going? Chris Fry up in central Queensland. Seem to be 4 weeks later. Yeah, that's probably your temperature. Well, winter is coming. Yep. Winter is going now.
Maybe.
Okay, ants start off in April, first year week of October. Yeah, my ants used to go quite early. I've actually had clutches dropped in August years ago. They tend to all be later now. I've only got 2 clutches of ants at the moment. A nice clutch of blondes from my holdbacks, which is nice. And as I told Brent today, I actually put a het granite over one of the nice blondes with the idea of making really nice blonde versioned Granite Max to try to light them up and get rid of some of the darkness in them, just for something different. So that'll be nice. Loving the shirt. Thanks. Self-made. I couldn't find anyone to make me something I wanted. I'm just not. I won't say anything to Chris. Yeah, but I just ended up whipping something together. I'll keep it simple. Stupid applies to me quite well. I'm simple and stupid, so there we go. Shirt through here. Jungle line peppers to show. I do have jungle line peppers somewhere. They actually hatched out. Sorry?
Bredley peppers. You can have Bredley pepper stuff heads up to size to breed next year?
They're actually paired at the moment, just over here. But even though they've got decent size, they'll eat extra large rats. Just not quite. I haven't seen any interest from them. So
the Bredley blood,
could be
slowing it up a little. But saying that, I had those albino Bredley ones 18 months they kicked off, which is amazing. I really didn't think they'd go that early, but maybe with the pepper as well, because you said yourself, peppers generally, I tried that young pepper boy several times at 18 months, useless. So you said they don't seem to want to kick on to 2.5. I've
sold a few, and I know anyone that's bred any at 18 months.
Yeah.
So no matter how big you get them, maybe the mixed blood into the line might loosen them up a little bit, so to speak.
But mixed blood into Bredley's probably worse, because that's another one that seems to want a bit more maturity before it wants to go.
Yeah. So that's what I put it down to. And not only that, it gives them an opportunity to cool, to be cycled together and paired. And then hopefully next year, I'll obviously, pump a bit more size into them and get them into bigger enclosures by then. And hopefully that'll be the difference, just they're decent size, they're not small snakes, they're eating extra large rats. So, but yeah, I mean, they've probably got the age, but I don't mind. They go when they go. So, but the jungle line, I thought I had one here somewhere or other. No, I've only got one bugger feeder one there. It's terrible. I have a really, I don't know what it is, but the jungle pepper stuff has a really unusual pattern. Really different. All of them very similar, but completely different. Yeah, almost oscillatish sort of thing. So there we are, bugger feeders. There's one good one feeding somewhere. Might be in the other rack. Anyway.
Only had an 18-month-old pepper male lock that didn't produce a clutch. I certainly had the same. I had that 18-month-old boy lock with albino granite and produced nothing, and locked with another unrelated Murray girl that had black eyes, just as an experiment. Produced nothing either at 18 months, so they just seemed to not be that productive at that age for some reason.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it just seems to be the way they are, Like I've had all that sort of stuff, but it just doesn't seem to go that way. Yep. So, even fellas got I assume it's Samuel Dittmer, I assume the scrubs. No, they weren't, mate. I ended up selling those because when I left where I was unable to house them well. So they got sold off to Cole Schumer. I think he's gone. So, I do miss scrub pythons, and they were beautiful animals too. Like they were actually quite nice temperament-wise and everything compared to some of the stuff you see around. So they can be quite cranky, temperamental type things. These you can actually, once you kind of got them out and you could actually handle them and, carry on with them, and they weren't too bad. They weren't going to eat your face off or crap all over you. So, that was pretty good. So
I remember at your old place, you look in that glass and the size of the head on one of them was just, it was like,
massive.
It was like a football. It was like, oh my God, if that thing launched at you, you would die. It was such an impressive looking snake.
When they can get down a 2 kilo rabbit, it's got head on it.
Yep. God, that's just scary. I remember the first time I saw him, I was like, oh, you just scared me. I was like, shit, do not get that thing out.
Yeah, they were the only things I would not handle on my own, just as a safety precaution. There was a recorded death of a guy down in South Australia. I think it was, that actually died to a scrub python. There was rumours he was blind drunk and handled it and it strangled him or something or other. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's not worth the risk, particularly in an enclosed area. If if you can get it out somewhere with a hook and there's plenty of open space for you to be able to handle it easier. But yeah, a bit of room to move. But even so, an animal of that size, I think the one was like 16 foot or something or other. 15, no. Something like that, 14 foot. Either way, with 13 foot or 15 foot, it doesn't matter. They were big, and one was like 16 kilos. I think the other one was about 12 or 13. Oh, yeah. You think, it's okay, but when they decide to wrap and then that wraps, and as soon as you touch it, they start wrapping, and it's like 16 foot of muscle rope that just can wrap you up really quickly, with room to spare. So, awesome animal and very, very intelligent, very alert, and not like any other Morelia. I miss them. Chris asking, one of my ants have decided to not eat, and it's been 4 months. It's usually normal. It hasn't lost any weight. Yeah, it's pretty normal this time of year. They'll probably start to go back on their food soon. Thalia, well, what's that one say? Have either of you had issues with hatchies that refuse larger feeds? We had some small diamonds last season, and one is stuck on pinky mice. Won't eat anything else. Any tips? Oh, well, there you go. It's interesting. Have you tried feeding it more than one and feeding something bigger after it? That's what I would probably try to do. Give it that and see if that feeding, or the other option is to try to get that feeding more aggressive. So feed it more than one. Feed it 2 or 3 if it'll take it. Try to get some condition and speed up the metabolism and feed it more often. If it's only taking pinky mice, I would probably look at feeding it every 3 days if it'll eat. Try to just get some nutrients in there and get the metabolism cranked up. Try to get it more aggressive in its feeding. If it's very gentle, try it, when it grabs it, give it a little wiggle, try to get it to wrap, try to make it get more aggressive. And you'll find that the aggression will start to take over the feeding. What do you reckon, Brent?
Yeah, mate, you're on it. I would exactly that. Every 3-day feeds and try to get it to take 2 or 3 feeds in one go. You got to get some size on it before it's going to be able to handle anything bigger. It's the problem. Those pinky mice will keep it alive, but it's not going to grow much. Eating a pinky mouse, it can eat a pinky mouse forever and never grow. So it's going to need to step up in volume, quantity, and how often it feeds.
Yeah, that's it. So
I have heard people have told me they've got animals that just won't take anything bigger than something. But like you said, I gave a snake to someone who was a problem feeder, and they said that they went back to pinky mice, and I was like, well, it's too small. It was a carpet, but what you said does, as it was eating the pinky mouse, they ended up shoving in a fuzzy mouse in behind it, just to poke the nose in, and it took that in, no problem. So it's, you can only try to get some volume going. It's all just based on a more nutritious feed. It'll get growth. It'll be able to eat bigger things.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's all about conditioning. Make sure your temps are up too. It's always a good thing too to help their metabolism along. Good 34 degrees sort of thing at the hot end if it's in the rack. Yep. Always good. thoughts on blah blah blah. Sorry, we're eating mental pepper. Done that. Elizabeth definitely got a post, some photos of them days. What was that of? I can't remember. Was that the strike stuff?
Stuff, maybe.
Oh yeah. There's plenty of pics of them on the Facebook page. I've been very slack on Facebook. Social media does that in when my head's broken. Elizabeth, thoughts on white-lip pythons? Can you guys keep them in New South Wales? I don't think we can at the moment. I know many years ago. Well, there was. Well, there was two on. There was. I'm talking. I'm going back a long time here, but there was two in the old paper licensing system that we used to have 15, 20 years ago. National Park, that was like white lips on license. National Park knew about those two animals, but they also knew that those two animals were males. So they said if any ever breed in New South Wales, those animals will probably get confiscated. So whether they lived, died, existed, there was just a piece of paper with a number on it. I don't know. But then more recent times they changed all the licensing and stopped. I think we can't get pellies at the moment. Same thing. Whereas once upon a time in New South Wales, if we could buy it legally, get it from interstate, whatever it was. National Parks used to give us a code for it. Didn't matter what it was. But they stepped in, wanted to change all the laws and licensing, put a hold on everything, and it's been like that for several years. So I don't think. I know we have white lips on. They were on license, but whether we can actually get them in, buy them and get them in or not, I would highly doubt that. Someone can correct me if they know more, but on the thought, I don't think so, based on what they did with several other species of monitors and the pellies and stuff like that. So if it's not on our license at the moment, you cannot get it. Simple. Yep. Which is kind of.
Won't be issued an import permit for one easily, I gather.
No, if they suddenly turn up on permit, you'll have national parks at your door going, where did these come from? So, which is kind of sad. What do you do? Samuel, that's super sad. Don't see many scrubbies going down here anymore. I'll have to put on picking some up over this. So, yeah, it's one thing. I think there's not a lot of people that actually breed scrubbies. I sometimes wonder how many you see around are actually captive bred. So there seem to be a lot of people up in Cairns that had them. But yeah, they are certainly nice. There's some around. You always see hatchies for sale, but don't see many people with adults. Nice. I love scrubbies. If I had the ability to give them a nice big enclosure and everything, I'd have another pair for sure. Definitely. Katie, I'm 5'0" and my partner has made me promise not to handle a few of mine alone just because they're massive. Yeah, it's a risk, Yep, definitely. It only takes one mistake, snake bite in the wrong spot, get your hands tied up, locked together, tar goes around your neck, it's like free handling vents. It's an unnecessary risk. People do it, people take it. I don't know why. I've done venomous rescues, not anymore, but years ago, and never did I have an interest in wanting to free handle an Eastern Brown. I was happy to just handle them carefully, with less risk to myself. But people do what they do. I don't see the point of taking the risk, but it's up to those that make their own choices. They do what they want. I don't care. Doesn't affect me. Definitely want to have two people in handling, that's for sure. I think I've heard of them being pulled out of the wild at 20 foot. Probably exaggerated, but still massive. There are certainly some big ones up there. I've heard of some in the 19 to 20 foot range. One I heard, and like you said, they're probably exaggerated. One guy reckoned he saw one go along his fence line and he measured it from post to post, and it was about 20 foot long after eating a wallaby. But I'm like, okay, yep, no worries. But, you know, did you get the right 2 posts that you measured between? You know, when you say you measured it, did you go and take a few steps and go, oh, that was 10 meters, you know, or 6 meters or whatever? Like, but yeah, I know they get pretty big. So I came with white lips, failure. So this one, he's got a problem that it'll do. He won't take more than 1 or even a mouse fuzzy, and sometimes it's every few weeks. I'll be looking at temps in your enclosure if that's the case, just in case. I mean, they might be perfectly fine. You could just have a turd, you know, in which case, but you need to try to work out a way to get more into him. So
you got to change something. You know, nothing changes if nothing changes. So
yes, this is right.
Different temperatures, different tub, different enclosure. You know, more privacy, less privacy. You know, and then mixing all that up. You know, less privacy, lower temps, less privacy, higher temps. You know, you got to try everything before you can just write it off as a turd. You know.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Always try something new, don't we? Even from just putting it from one side of hatchie tub into another one. You know, I've got obviously these style hatchie racks, and you can see down here I've got the skinnier ones down here, the slightly wider ones there, and then I've got the 5 litre Starmade or something or other, white melamine racks inside.
Yep.
And just from taking it from one of these into one of those can make a difference. So even though they're all a hatchie tub, so to speak, just having that change of scenery can make a difference. Got my chair squeaky.
How many times I've had an animal I've given to somebody, you know, occasionally that's just not a great feeder, and bang, they just have instant success with it, you know, because it's a change, you know.
Yep.
It's a different food source, it's a different sense, different temperatures. Might have went to somewhere different air pressures, you know, like they might not have it in a sealed room like I have. They might be in their house where, you know, there's so many different factors that something triggers them, and sometimes it's good, you know. Obviously, sometimes it works the other way. I sell an animal that's a fantastic feeder, absolutely no issue for me, and for some reason where it goes to, it gives the shits and doesn't want to eat for them, you know. So then it becomes a game of change, you know. You got to keep changing things to work it out.
Yep, that's it. Fun and games of breeding. Does anyone else puts carpets on pink mice? Ants, yes, but not carpets. Not unless force feeding. Yeah, it depends on the hatchie, I suppose. Some carpets can go straight on the pink rats. Some I'll put on fuzzy mice. Some carpets hatch out are quite small, like some of the jungle pepper stuff I had was quite small. And there's no way in hell they were getting a pink rat down even if I wanted to. So just it varies, you know. But then I've got like the Darwin hatchies, they're massive when they come out, so they can almost eat a hopper mice straight out the back. So realistically, what you feed them should be subject to their size. But I do find that sometimes you could offer a fuzzy and they're not interested in it, and you offer them a pinky and they'll take it. And sometimes it's just better to give them something and get them feeding, as I said earlier, you know, feed them every 3-4 days, give them 2 or 3 feeds if you need to, and get that confidence up in themselves, and then you can start to progress forward.
Yep.
You know,
nice.
Yeah, I know. I just looked at the time, went, oh, it's Brent's bedtime. Oh, this is terrible.
Got up at 3 a.m. to watch baseball. It wasn't smart.
I think I was still up at 3 a.m. Then I went to bed.
Should have rang you.
Should have. Yeah. I don't sleep very well. Really, I think that's pretty. Rob McLeod, Brisbane, Queensland. Haven't seen many outside. Yeah, I don't know the white lips. Don't know. I know there's a few people got them around, but don't know anyone in New South Wales that's got them. Not to mean that they don't have them, but whether they got them legally or not, who knows? Anyway, yeah. So, Katie, I've had a go to helping people get their naughty snakes eating. Feel free to send it to my Pro Pythons page. There you go. Sacrificial pythons, send to Katie. There you go. Katie
fixes them all.
Katie will do it. Some about eaters.
Time and patience.
There you go. Some of bad eaters just be nervous. Let the feed in overnight. 9 times out of 10 they ate when there was no movement around. Yep, that's a common thing I've heard with blackheads. Putting the feed just at the entrance of their hide, just leaving it in there overnight, and I'll just eat it when they feel like it. Yep, drag it in where they feel secure. Okay, might try down the tub size. Temps to find 35 is in a 5-litre quadrant tub. Yeah, like I said, I've run the same sort of thing, but sometimes just a different tub or putting something extra in the tub, something to perch on. Sometimes they're just buggers, Sometimes even having them on a different spot on the rack because you'll get a slight variation in temperature cords. So, sometimes that can do the trick. But anyway, we probably they might try down tub size. Yeah. Getting hatchies feeding. Is there anything you particularly do to make sure a hatchie is feeding well before selling? I had 2 from my clients last year that were smashing food here. Then I sold them and they stopped eating for a few months. Frank, do you want to go?
Make sure this is the common old story. They've got to really, you can't avoid it. It's going to happen. But if they've had 10 or 12 feeds with you, solid feeds where they grab, wrap, eat, they're never an issue. I'm never worried to sell that animal. So even if it goes somewhere else and is upset with the change, and generally they come out of racks like these and they go into an enclosure of some sort, and it just upsets them that they're a bit freaked out, too exposed. It's easy to tell them to put paper over it or cover the setup, and you can get them going again, knowing full well they eat. They've eaten 10 or 12 for you. So I think that's all you can do. If you've got them to feed, a dozen times yourself, they eat. So it's just a case of getting the setup right at the other end. So there's not too much else you can do. There's always going to be a snake you sell to someone that is just a pain when it gets to the other end for some reason. The changes is too much for it, and you just got to play the games to get it going again.
Yeah, I think Brent's nailed on the head there. I think that's exactly right. Before anything leaves here, I make sure it's bulletproof. If it is hesitant about a feed, it doesn't leave. And I don't care if it's a, $200 snake or a $6,000 snake. It doesn't matter. I don't care how experienced they are or not, unless you specifically say, I'll take it as it is. I've actually had a couple of people that have bought stuff off be non-feeding out of the egg, and they've gone, no, it's fine, I'll take it non-feeding. I know the risk. Okay, fine. I'm good with that, providing that person is experienced. I wouldn't do it to someone that's never had a snake before. Yep. But literally anything that walks out the door I know is bulletproof. So if that, and by that I mean I can open the drawer, whether it's a mouse, whether it's a rat, whatever it is, it open up the drawer, I just put it there, it smashes it, I shut the drawer, walk away, and it eats it and comes back looking for a second one. That's my version of bulletproof. Now, whether that's 5 or 6 feeds or 20 feeds, it doesn't matter. It has to have that reaction. And normally, as Brent said, at least 10 or 12 feeds is a minimum to make sure, your problem. Brent had a snake out earlier tonight that had been smashing food, no problems, and has gone off its tucker. So these things happen. Yep. And by doing that, when the person gets that snake and they message you and go, oh, it hasn't fed, I can almost guarantee you one of a couple of things. One, their son or daughter or whoever snake it is has come home and play with it every day. That's normally number one on the list. Have you handled it much? You've got to ask the right questions, because you go, oh, okay, so, does he come home and handle it every day? Oh, yeah, but just for half an hour. Okay, problem number one, you're taking the snake out during the day when it's sleeping. They're nocturnal, they're not diurnal, so you're disturbing it already. It now feels unsecure and unsafe in its home. So what's it going to do? Not eat. Secondly, like Brent said, they've taken it home. You've told them to keep it in a 5-litre hatchie tub. They've taken it home, put it in a 4-foot glass enclosure that sits beside the television and the sound system, and is scared shitless. So by having it feeding well when it leaves, you can soon find out pretty quick why it stopped feeding if you know the right questions to ask. And generally, it's they're handling it or it's just not set up properly. Most common things. So. But anyway, I think we should probably call it there, Brent. That was much longer than what we anticipated, probably because I've been isolated myself in my house and not talked to anybody for many, many months.
Now we've activated the button. I knew once we pulled the string, Bernie, you just keep talking. So it's good you're back. We can be ready to go.
Don't know about back, but you certainly unleashed me.
we are going to have a little bit of a guest on in a week or two.
Yes, we are. You may talk about that if you want.
You can, because people can't hear me. So.
Okay, rightio. Yep. So in a couple of weeks, once we have another show, we just wanted to get this one off the ground and running again because, for whatever reasons, we haven't been able to. But we're going to have Andy Sinclair, or Shaggy. So most people know he's going to come on and he's going to come and talk to us about all the food and stuff that he's currently producing for, the Bearded Dragon food. And I don't know, is he doing the fish food and stuff as well now, or Monitor Foods and all these things you can buy? He's got some pretty crazy products. So what's his website? Go check him out at God, what's their name? Fuzzy Fox. That's it. I could see the picture. So go and check out Fuzzy Fox. He's got some very, very cool products. So he's going to come on to the show and have a chat and hang out. And he talks as well as I do. Can't stop us when we start. So it should be a good show. So watch out on Facebook.
He's always got a few good stories. He's still a reptile keeper. He's probably less animals these days than what he's had in the past. So he's always got a good yarn. Tells a good story. So it'd be good to catch up with him, and maybe through the season we'll catch up with a few different people. And see how their seasons went and see how things are happening out there in the hobby. So it'd be good to get some other people in and just us boring old blokes.
Yeah, we've got a few people that want to come on the show and have a chat. So, just friends, people who've got some interesting stuff. We'll get a few lined up for this season. Try to be a little bit more proactive than locked in boxes. I went into hibernation, I think.
It's winter. We're back.
Yeah.
We're back now.
Well, I know when people are looking for me, they can't find me because I'm hiding. But Brent, where can they find you when people are looking to get in contact with you?
People get me all the time. KHP Reptiles on Facebook, Messenger, Brent Smith. It's most people seem to find me on Messenger quick enough, and funny enough, I have it open for work. It's open all day long, so pretty much all day long I'm around.
There you go. So I'm on Rally by Design on Facebook and Instagram and stuff, but I've kind of not been there much. I do apologise to everybody that's been messaging me. I do get there. My phone has been an absolute turd. It decides just to ignore everything, and then when you open up a page, suddenly there's 50 messages, and then there was none. And so anyway, I hate it, but I will get to everybody. I'm getting there, and yeah, slowly but surely. But anyway, all right. I think peace out.
Step at a time, mate. Good to have
That's
you
it.
back, and we'll get Mr. Shaggy in, and then we'll be rolling on.
Yeah, before you know it, we'll be cutting eggs, seeing what's new. Anyway, all right. Thanks for those that hung around and we bored you to tears. And we'll talk to you all soon. Night, guys.